Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, Toastmaster of the day. I want you to do for me one thing. Let's say today you have been selected as a jury. You're my jury, ABC court. Today you're an ABC court. Okay? We're going to investigate a case, the matter of people versus the storm. Okay? The storm has been charged with a crime of causing pain and anguish among individuals. Okay? He has caused depression. He has caused anxiety. But I will argue in the case of the storm. Okay? Why am I capable of doing this? Because I watch a lot of court TV. My favorite show is all court shows, so I can stand in this place. And I will argue this case. Now, you being the jury, you stand in a place, you will listen to the argument, and you will, at the end, get to decide the guilt or the innocence of the storm. Okay? Now, let's think about this for a second. The storm. For centuries, a storm. The storm has two children, tornadoes, actually has several. You have hurricanes. You got several children the storm has. And in this has been going on for centuries. Centuries. Can you argue that, jury? Can you argue that the storm has not been going through for centuries of doing this? Now, I will say, you are not here to judge in terms of what it does to a house, what it does in terms of anything else in its destruction. Sometimes a tornado may do some destruction, sometimes a hurricane might do some destruction, but you are here to determine whether or not a storm caused depression. That is your job, to make that decision. Now, I do have several witnesses, okay? And in this, all of my witnesses, I will have to speak on behalf of. I call to witness Jesus Christ. Now, I will speak on his behalf because he's a little busy right now and he cannot speak, so I will speak on his behalf. Now, twice he spoke of times when he had the storm. There was times when he was walking and he was at the top of the mountain and his disciples were sent out in the ocean and there was a storm. And Jesus saw what was going on and he started to walk toward them. And when they saw him, they became very fearful. And Peter, one of the disciples, said, "Is that you, Lord? Ask me to come." And Jesus said, "Come." Well, Peter, as he began to walk, he wasn't looking, and then he looked down at the storm. When he looked down at the current, that's when he became fearful, and he fell. But what's interesting about this is what Jesus said later, because this is the second time that Jesus had to calm the storm for them. But in this case, Jesus said to them, "Ye of little faith." Now I say to you, jury, I'm going to let you think about this. In that situation, did Jesus reprimand the storm at all for what it did? Just think about that. Now I'd like to call to the witness stand someone who many of you know and love. I would like to call Gil Wagner to the witness stand. Well, he's not here, so I have to speak on his behalf. What was interesting is that in a conversation today with Mr. Wagner, and he asked me, what was the title of my speech? And I said, "The Storm." And he said, "That's the opposite of spring." And I laughed to myself. How apropos. Because in that, I thought about my defendant, that who I am arguing a case for. How many of you have constantly blamed storms for the trials of your own life? Oh, I hate this storm. How many of us use storms as an excuse not to do anything, not to move? I argue that my defendant is innocent of any wrongdoing in the terms of your feelings or your emotion. Now, we are not here to judge him on the basis of what he does naturally in life, but we are here to find out if he's done anything to cause detriment to your life. Or should you spend any time trying to renew yourself? So I ask you in conclusion to spend some time thinking about this. If when the storm comes in your life, do you have the power to walk upright and look straight ahead and not look into it? I'm asking you to take today to judge not that and one that, but to look inward. Thank you.